The movie begins with Beth, an American woman now living in London, boarding a flight to Croatia. She is a new mother, and this short holiday is her first escape from the responsibilities of caring for baby Aster. She meets with Kate, her longtime best friend.
Come on, I've been waiting to open the duty-free. Yeah.
They are both brimming with anticipation, eager to reclaim some version of their freer, younger selves, even if only for a weekend. The mood is light, joyful, unburdened by diapers or deadlines. As they settle into the rented apartment, Beth presents Kate with a gift, an onyx necklace. It's a token of gratitude for organizing the trip, but also a gesture steeped in love and memory. Kate admires it with a smile, touched by the thought behind it. They hug, exchange I love yous, and for a fleeting moment it feels like everything is right. But when Beth turns away, the camera lingers on Kate's face. The smile fades. Something is wrong. Her expression is conflicted, layered with emotions she does not voice. Later that evening, Beth video calls her husband Rob. He is back in London, caring for their infant daughter. Their exchange is brief and domestic, filled with the usual end-of-day small talk. Rob seems tired but calm, a father trying to manage things in his wife's absence. Beth, for her part, sounds dutiful, but there's a tension beneath her voice. When the call ends, the women prepare for a night out. As they leave their apartment, they run into Sebastian, the building's owner. His gaze lingers on them, longer than what feels comfortable. His expression is unreadable, part judgment, part curiosity, but the women laugh it off and continue on their way. Their first stop is a high-end restaurant, the kind of place with soft lighting and polished surfaces. Beth notices Kate is paying with a card that clearly doesn't belong to her. It seems she still has access to her ex-husband Jay's money. Kate is carefree, generous, almost reckless. Beth tries not to judge. They drink and talk, circling back to old wounds and new frustrations. Beth apologizes for not being there during Kate's breakup with Jay, but Kate brushes it off. She says it's nothing, says she's fine. Her tone is light, but there's a hollowness behind her words. She then jokes that Beth is justified because Beth delivered a baby around that time. As the wine flows, Beth opens up about her marriage. She admits things have grown dull. Rob is a good father, a reliable partner, but their intimacy has vanished. She misses passion, misses the parts of herself that feel dead now. Kate listens. She's sharp and unsentimental, and she suggests divorce like it's a practical option, not a moral failure. Beth pushes back. She says it's just a phase, something they'll work through. But it's clear she's said this many times before. Kate knows it too. From the restaurant, they head to a club. On the ride there, Beth has a brief and meaningful interaction with Zain, their taxi driver. She learns he's Syrian, and she surprises him by speaking a little Arabic. They talk about the war, about leaving home. Zain is touched when Beth reveals she once worked with a humanitarian organization.
Syrian. American?
Yeah, California originally.
There's a moment of human connection, quiet and sincere, before the neon lights of the club pull her away. Inside the club, the music is loud and the energy infectious. Two men approach, charming and persistent. Kate encourages Beth to let go, to have fun, maybe even cheat. Beth drinks more than she intends to. Her judgment grows hazy. The night blurs into fragments of movement and noise. At some point, her memory cuts off entirely. The next morning, Beth wakes with a pounding headache and a dry mouth. Her clothes are rumpled. The apartment feels off. She calls for Kate but hears nothing. The place is too quiet. She tries Kate's phone, no answer. Tries again, still nothing. Panic starts as a flicker and quickly becomes a flood. She tries not to overreact. Maybe Kate went for a walk. Maybe she's just out grabbing coffee. But every unanswered call stokes the fear. Beth reaches out to Rob, hoping for comfort, but his response is detached. He suggests Kate probably met someone and left without saying anything. His tone is unconcerned, almost dismissive. Beth feels the first sting of isolation. She is in a foreign country. Her best friend is missing, and nobody seems to care. She knocks on Sebastian's door. The building owner opens with his usual blank stare. When she asks if he's seen Kate, he says no, but then something odd slips into his words. He says they broke the rules by hosting a party and that he will charge them for the 2 extra guests who stayed over. Beth goes cold. What guests? She has no memory of inviting anyone back. Her confusion turns to dread. Something happened. Something she doesn't remember. She grabs her phone and heads straight to the nearest police station. The officer, named Pavic, at the desk greets her with indifference. He listens, but barely. When she explains that Kate is missing, he scoffs, says young women ditch each other all the time for flings or solo adventures. He refuses to take it seriously. Beth insists. She wants to file a report. He tells her she has to wait 24 hours. It's the rule. Most people turn up, he says. Don't panic yet, he says. But Beth is already panicked. Every instinct tells her this is not normal. This is not just a case of a friend wandering off. Her skin crawls with the certainty that something terrible has occurred. The empty apartment, the extra guests, the way her memory falters, none of it makes sense. Her friend is gone, vanished, and the silence left behind is screaming. Alone, disoriented, and grasping at fragments, Beth is left to piece together what happened. No one around her seems to believe her, not her husband, not the local authorities. Even Sebastian's cryptic comments feel like warnings cloaked in politeness, and hovering over it all is a sense of unseen menace, a wrongness she cannot name, but which weighs heavily on every breath she takes. As the day stretches on in the foreign heat of Croatia, Beth feels heavy helplessness closing in, but she is not ready to give in to despair. With few leads and mounting dread, she reaches out to the only person who has shown her kindness since Kate disappeared, Zain, the Syrian taxi driver who drove them to the club the night before. Zain agrees to help. He speaks Croatian fluently, and his ability to navigate both language and people quickly becomes an asset. His presence steadies Beth. Together, they return to the club, the Blue Parlor, where it all began to fall apart. The atmosphere inside the club is sterile in the daylight, but Zain slips easily into conversation with the bartender and a few other workers. He draws out the truth in bits and pieces. It turns out that the night before, Kate had arranged for male escorts. 2 young men had spent time with them, accompanying them through the haze of alcohol and loud music. Beth feels a chill ripple through her. The night is still fragmented in her memory, a flickering reel with missing scenes. She can't remember agreeing to anything like that. She can't remember how or when the night ended.
Zain, I think I found them.
With Zain's help, she manages to arrange a meeting with the escorts at a small cafe. They sit at an outside table in the early evening sun. Beth is exhausted, but tries to hold herself together. Zain remains by her side. As they wait, they talk. Beth finds herself revealing more than she expects. She explains that she and Kate had always been opposites. Kate, impulsive and fiery. Beth, steady and cautious. But they had clicked instantly. She met Rob through Kate. Kate had introduced them during university. Looking back now, she can't tell if that was fate or some sort of slow-burning curse. Zain listens carefully. He shares a bit about his own past. He tells Beth about Mina, his late wife. She had been a doctor, strong-willed and bright, the type of person who made decisions quickly and loved deeply. Zain met her while training as a nurse. He says Mina, like Beth, trusted people too easily. He tells her that Mina agreed to date him because he told her he was a nice guy. His smile is wistful, warm, edged with loss. Beth finds comfort in this small story, though her heart is too burdened to relax. Just then, the escorts arrive. They spot Beth, and without a word, they turn and bolt. Confusion snaps into action. Zain immediately gives chase. He moves quickly, cutting down an alley. Within minutes, he returns, dragging one of them by the arm. The young man is sweating and breathless, trying to talk his way out of the situation. Zain threatens him, and the escort folds under pressure. He confesses to stealing Kate's phone and bag, then pawning them after the night at the club. Following his instructions, Beth and Zain retrieve the stolen items from a dingy corner shop that deals in electronics and forgotten things. She holds Kate's phone in her hand as if it's a lifeline. It feels like touching a piece of her friend again. When Zain drops her at the police station, he begs her not to mention his name. He's an immigrant and fears deportation. She understands. He tells her to call if she needs anything else. Then he disappears into the streets, a ghost with kind eyes. With the stolen items returned and the details emerging, the police begin to take the case seriously. An official investigation is opened. Beth has a moment of hope, the first in what feels like forever. She reaches out to Jay, Kate's ex. He is detached, bitter, and laced with sarcasm. When Beth explains the situation, Jay muses that Kate disappearing might just be another stunt. He talks about red flags, of how she wore red on their wedding day as if to sound the alarm. He suggests Kate has a history of dramatic exits, of punishing the people closest to her. Once, he says, she vanished to New York for a full week after an argument and left no message, no trace. He claims he hasn't spoken to Kate in weeks, and to him, it's been bliss. Beth is startled. Kate had been arguing with someone over the phone the previous night, and she had said it was Jay. She mentioned his credit card. But when Beth asks, Jay dismisses the idea. He says they don't communicate directly. Everything goes through lawyers now. He doesn't know what credit card Beth is talking about. The information hits her hard. Her assumptions begin to splinter. Something doesn't add up. Jay ends the call by saying that if anyone was capable of orchestrating her own chaos, it was Kate. Drama, he claims, is stitched into her DNA. Soon after, Rob arrives in Croatia. He says his parents are watching Aster back in London. He's come out of concern, but he brings tension with him. Almost immediately, he suspects Zain. He doesn't like the closeness between them. Beth defends Zain, but she's tired. Her emotions are raw. She is cracking under the pressure. In her gut, she knows Zain is not the enemy, but right now, she doesn't know who to trust. Not even Rob. The worst arrives days later. Kate's body is found. She is pulled from the ocean, waterlogged and lifeless. The sea had kept her for a time and then gave her back, bloated and pale. She drowned. Beth is called to identify the body. She walks into the morgue with Rob beside her. Her hands tremble. Her knees buckle. The sight of Kate silences her. Grief claws through her in ways that language cannot capture. A friendship spanning years ends here, with salt, silence, and death. Still reeling, Beth searches Kate's phone. She digs through messages, desperate for answers, and she finds them. The affair. Texts between Kate and Rob. Conversations full of flirtation, regret, guilt, and want. Her heart stops. Her world tilts. She cannot breathe. Every part of her aches in disbelief.
Is everything okay?
Yeah.
She confronts Jay again. This time, he confirms what she already knows. Rob and Kate had a history, even back in college. He says there were always lingering feelings. He didn't tell Beth earlier because she had been pregnant at the time. The betrayal sears through her like a blade. Love turns bitter. Grief is eclipsed by humiliation and rage. Then, the knock comes. Beth is summoned to the police station. They now consider her a suspect. Both women had traces of drugs in their systems. Beth had suspected as much. Her memory loss, her confusion, it all makes sense now. She insists she was drugged. But the story is growing darker. The police interrogate the escorts. Both men deny any wrongdoing. They have no criminal record. The police take Beth's passport. She is trapped. She calls Rob. He has returned to London. When she confronts him, he tries to lie, fumbles through denials. But Beth has the proof. She tells him not to insult her intelligence. She read the messages. Rob falters. He admits the affair. He says it didn't mean anything. He blames the dry spell in their intimacy, the strain of parenthood. But Beth isn't having it. She won't let him twist this into her fault. She pushes him, asks if he loved Kate. He says no. He says they need to talk face to face. He tells her to come home. Beth, shaking with fury, tells him she can't. The police took her passport. They think she killed her best friend. And now, because of his affair, she has a bleeding good motive. Everything falls apart. Beth is alone. Her trust, her marriage, her sense of safety, shattered. The walls are closing in, and the people she believed in most are the ones who carved out the cracks. The authorities hover. The investigation sharpens. Her future is uncertain. The only thing she knows is that Kate is dead, and somewhere buried in the truth of that night, in the betrayal of love, in the silences that followed, is a secret that could destroy what little Beth has left. Not long after the discovery of the affair and the growing storm of suspicion, the police arrest Beth on suspicion of the murder of Kate Thompson. The shock is immediate, like a blow to the chest. She is dragged into the sterile, fluorescent-lit interrogation room, numb with disbelief and fear. The officers sit across from her, cold and calculating, no trace of empathy in their tone. They slide a photograph across the table. It shows Beth sitting at the cafe with Zain.
How did the two of you meet?
They refer to him by a full name she's never heard before, Mr. Zakaria. They ask how long she's known him. Beth replies honestly, saying only a few days. But the officers are not convinced. They press further, asking who Zain really is, what role he plays in her life. Beth explains that he is a taxi driver, that he took her and Kate to the Blue Parlor on the night of Kate's disappearance. But the police are already running with a theory. They say Zain is not just a driver. They accuse him of being involved in organized crime, possibly a member of an Albanian gang involved in human trafficking. They claim he has connections to a criminal underworld that stretches from Croatia to Syria to the Balkans. Then they accuse Beth of hiring him to kill Kate, motivated by the affair between Rob and Kate. They say she wanted revenge. Beth can barely breathe. She protests that she only learned about the affair the day before. The weight of the false narrative being spun around her crushes in on her. She knows how things appear. She sees how they've constructed a story that fits their assumptions. Her trust in the system begins to wither. Realizing the situation is quickly slipping beyond her control, she demands a lawyer. The officers exchange smirks, then inform her that Zain is being questioned at that very moment. Later, when she is released back to her room, her mind is scattered, clouded with dread. But, to her surprise, Zain is already there. He tells her that the police let him go because the Uber app logs show he was driving through the night and into Saturday morning. His alibi checks out. Beth stares at him, suspicion still simmering inside her. She asks how the police could have mistaken him for a criminal. Zain explains, years ago, back in Aleppo, he saved the life of a boy who had been struck by shrapnel. The boy's father, a man with ties to an Albanian smuggling ring, pulled strings to get Zain out of Syria. That man arranged his border crossings, helped him secure documents, and even helped him obtain a visa into Croatia. But Zain insists he owes the man nothing. He never worked for him, never joined his operations. Beth presses him, unsure what to believe. In response, Zain speaks quietly in Arabic, telling her to trust her heart. It is the only compass left when logic fails. That night, Beth lies in bed, but sleep is impossible. Her thoughts spin like cogs in a machine, reassembling fragments of memory and observation. She begins to suspect she is being watched. Something in the room feels wrong. She searches carefully and eventually discovers hidden listening devices. Her skin prickles. Her instincts had been right. Someone is listening, watching. She digs deeper and finds that the Airbnb host, Sebastian, has been secretly recording his renters. Cameras hidden in vents and behind mirrors. Through bold stunts, she finds a way to access his surveillance room. As she combs through the saved footage, she uncovers chilling evidence. The footage from the night Kate disappeared shows that Beth was helped into bed early, clearly groggy and struggling to stay upright. It proves she was not present for the latter half of the night. The recording also shows Kate being robbed by the escorts. Furious, Kate had followed them in a taxi. Hours later, she returned in a different car, looking tense and shaken. But what happened next is unclear. As Beth pores over the footage, Sebastian walks in unexpectedly. He sees her discovery and tries to play it off, saying the cameras are for security, but Beth isn't convinced. She accuses him of filming guests without their knowledge, even during private, intimate moments. He becomes defensive and tries to delete the files. A struggle ensues. Sebastian lunges for the device. Beth fights him off. In the scuffle, he hits his head against the edge of a table and collapses, unconscious. Panicked but quick thinking, Beth escapes, but Sebastian comes to and deletes the incriminating footage. Soon, the police begin closing in. They believe Beth has fled jurisdiction and a warrant is issued. With little time, Zain helps her evade capture. They move quietly through the city, switching routes, hiding in alleyways, ducking into crowded plazas. But Beth's mind returns to the footage. One detail sticks with her. The car Kate had returned in. The driver. She remembers the license plate and the distinct sticker beside it. She realizes it's Pavich's car, the same detective who dismissed her from the very beginning. The same officer who treated Kate's disappearance like a drunken escapade. The same man who seemed almost too eager to blame Beth. Beth and Zain hunt down the taxi driver who drove Kate that night. The driver confirms what they suspected. Kate had ordered him to follow the escorts after they stole her bag, but he lost track of them in the winding streets, so he dropped Kate off at the police station. That's the last he saw of her. Beth feels the pieces snapping together. If Kate entered the station, she may have crossed paths with Pavich. If he gave her a ride back, then he was likely the last person to see her alive. As Beth and Zain act on this new lead, the police catch up. A frantic chase begins. They duck between alleys, scramble over fences, and disappear into stairwells. Zain, realizing they are outmatched and that Beth can't outrun the police, makes a selfless choice. He gives himself up to buy her more time. Beth hesitates, but there is no time for goodbyes. She runs. But her luck has run out. She is caught by Pavich himself.
You killed her.
What?
He corners her on a rooftop. There is a struggle. Beth fights back, all the grief and fury bursting through. In the chaos, Pavich loses his balance. He falls from the rooftop and dies on impact. The aftermath is a whirlwind. Beth is detained again, but the recovery of the footage from Sebastian changes everything. Authorities now view Beth's claims with credibility. They revisit the autopsy, which reveals that Kate suffered blunt force trauma to the back of the head, then was dumped in the harbor while still alive. The implication is chilling. Pavich had likely assaulted her when she rejected him. His actions that night no longer seem coincidental, but deliberate. The evidence aligns. His proximity to Kate, his authority, his dismissiveness. The story rewrites itself. With the truth now visible, Beth is declared innocent. The authorities return her passport. She is free again. Zain, too, is cleared, their names untangled from the web of lies and suspicion. Before she leaves, Beth finds Zain one more time. She hugs him. The gratitude in her embrace says more than words ever could. He had believed her when no one else would. He helped her when he could have vanished. They part with no promises, no need for explanations. The nightmare is over, but its scars will linger. Beth boards a plane home. Her heart is heavier, her soul changed. The trip that began as a short break from motherhood turned into a crucible of betrayal, fear, and discovery. She returns not just as a grieving friend, but as a woman remade by truth. A woman who knows what it means to lose everything and survive. Some time has passed. Life in London resumes, but for Beth, nothing feels normal. She moves through the city with the weight of memory pressing against her shoulders. The trauma of Croatia lingers in her bones. The smell of sea salt, the sting of betrayal, the shadow of death. It all remains. Rob reaches out to her not long after her return. He wants to talk. He wants to try again. He insists they can heal, that they can rebuild what was broken. But Beth refuses. The affair, the lies, the way he looked her in the eye and denied everything. It's too much to forgive. Their marriage is over. They now live apart, navigating the fragile balance of co-parenting.
I packed clothes and are any of the sheep in the bag?
Baby Aster is the tether between them. Beth focuses on her child, shielding her from the chaos that nearly swallowed their family. Her affection for Aster is steady, but her feelings for Rob are carved hollow. Still, there are moments when the practicalities of separation bring them into each other's orbit. One of those moments comes on an unassuming afternoon when Beth visits Rob to retrieve her spare car keys, which are still in his possession. Based on his instructions, she opens a coat closet, searching for the keys. But instead, her hand brushes against something unexpected. She draws out a few loose beads, glossy and dark. Her heart skips. They are onyx beads, the same as those on the necklace she gave Kate at the start of their holiday. The gift she had chosen with care, a token of friendship and gratitude. The necklace Kate had worn proudly that first day in Croatia. Beth stares at the beads in her palm, disbelief pooling into dread. Her thoughts begin to spin. She clutches them tightly. She asks Rob if she can use his bathroom. He nods, unaware. She steps inside, locks the door, and calls the police helpline. Her breath grows shallow. Her mind floods with images. Kate's face, the harbor, the text messages, the beads. Something inside her clicks into place. A clarity forms, cold and precise. Rob killed Kate. The realization shakes her. She keeps the line open and steps out, confronting him as calmly as she can manage. Rob is startled at first. He tries to deflect, to dismiss it as a misunderstanding. He questions her accusations, acting like it's a joke, a cruel misunderstanding. But Beth stays composed. She tells him that it would not be difficult to check flight records, that he could have easily flown to and from Croatia without notice. Her voice is calm, but her hand trembles behind her back where she clutches the phone. She holds up the bead from his jacket. His eyes flicker. The mask begins to slip. There is a pause, then his demeanor changes. He tries a different approach. He says he can explain. He admits that he went to Croatia in secret, that he was panicking. Kate had threatened to tell Beth everything. He was desperate to stop her. He says he waited outside their rental apartment, texting and calling, trying to reach her. He never meant to hurt anyone, he insists. But when she finally appeared, dropped off by someone else, he confronted her. They went towards the harbor to speak privately, far from prying eyes. What was meant to be a conversation turned into an argument. He says he felt cornered, that she was being cruel, that she pushed him emotionally. In the heat of the moment, he lashed out. He struck her. She fell, hit her head on the rocks. He didn't know what to do. Panic overtook him. He watched her lie there, unconscious. Then, instead of helping, he let her body slip into the water and ran. But the truth, as revealed in a brief, silent montage, diverges from Rob's version. Kate had told him that their affair was a mistake, that he was a rebound from her messy divorce with Jay. She had tried to soften the blow, but her words were final. She did not love him. She never had. Rob, wounded and humiliated, had been unable to contain his rage. It was not fear that drove him. It was rejection. His pride, his longing, his hurt, all boiling over in one brutal act. The blow was not a reflex. It was punishment. As Rob talks, his words become increasingly self-centered. He pleads with Beth not to report him. He says the case is closed. Nothing good will come of digging it up again. He insists that going to prison would help no one. He begs her to think of Aster. Does she really want their daughter to grow up without a father? His voice strains with emotion, but Beth is unmoved. The betrayal cuts too deep. The manipulation is too obvious. What Rob does not know is that the call with the police has remained active. Everything he has said is being recorded. Law enforcement is already en route. Rob's final plea echoes with desperation, but it comes too late. Sirens pierce the quiet of the street outside. Uniformed officers arrive, storming into the building. They arrest Rob, his face a mask of disbelief and defeat. Beth stands aside, holding Aster close. Her daughter stirs softly in her arms, unaware of the chaos. The officers lead Rob away. He doesn't struggle. He doesn't protest. His world crumbles in silence. Beth watches him go with no sense of triumph, only sorrow. A once shared life has ended in violence and deception. Beth, though relieved, is changed. She moves through life differently now. She has been lied to, betrayed, hunted, and broken. But she has survived. She has endured. The film closes with a smiling Beth walking along a park with Aster in her arms.